One thing I often get asked, what are the biggest mistakes people make when looking for a lease deal? And there's one, and it's the one most people make, and it's the one where if people open their eyes a little bit more, they could find themselves in a far better car than they could ever imagine. Keep watching. Okay, so we're going to do some examples of this in a bit. The thing I'm going to say is something that I've said in so many comments before. It's shop for the deal, not for the car. And sometimes people get a bit confused about what that means. It can mean if you're looking for, I don't know, an Audi A3 and you've decided you want the 1.4 Sport automatic or the 1.4 Sport manual or whatever, and you want this option and that option and that option, think again. What you may find is that for that same budget you can get a much higher spec car than you wanted, because the higher spec one for some reason or another is on a deal and the lower spec one is not. What you can sometimes find is you can get the same car with a better spec for a lower price or for hardly any difference in price, and B, you might find yourself in a completely different car altogether, one that you thought you could never afford. Well, the best deal we've ever had on a lease, I think, was a few years ago. We had a Skoda Yeti. At the time, we were looking for something like a Focus or an Astra, just a very run-of-the-mill sort of family hatchback. And this Skoda Yeti came up and it was only 179 quid a month. And I thought, that's amazing. It was only a base spec, like 1.2 petrol. I rang about the deal and the woman on the phone said to me, "Would you rather have the 1.4 Laurent Clement one?" And I said, "Well, no, I probably can't afford that." He said it's £2 a month extra, or £1.80 a month, something daft like that. Sure enough, it was. There's no catch involved. Now, the purchase price difference in those cars was, I think, £10,000 or £11,000. I've slept since then, so I can't remember. I'm an old man. But the purchase price difference was like 10 grand, and the difference to me was like £1.80 a month. We never would have considered the Yeti in the first place. I was looking for the deal. I was sort of budgeting for about £250 a month for something like a Focus or an Astra or Kia Ceed, just that sort of fairly middle of the road family hatchback. And in the end, for 181 quid a month, we got this Skoda Yeti, which ended up being one of our favourite cars we've ever had. And it's perfect for what we needed at the time. It was 180 quid a month. It was 70 quid under budget, and it was probably 8-10 grand more as a purchase price than the thing we were initially after. And if I'd have just been stuck on, I want this car and I want these options on it, we wouldn't have got such a good deal. That's the other thing to mention, are options. So when you start putting optional extras onto a car, sometimes it can, have a fairly negative effect on the lease. Where if you go up the spec range, sometimes you find that those options come with it. And sometimes you can feel you can even go up a model range in a particular brand, and then all sorts of extra specs thrown at it. So let's have a look at the examples, and I think you're going to find this really interesting. But before we do that, give the video a big thumbs up. And if you've watched a few of my videos by now, it's time you subscribed. Only just under 6% of people watching this video are subscribers. So please subscribe. Thanks. Okay, so here we go with some examples. I haven't spent too long on this. I've just picked out a couple of fairly obvious examples. What I haven't looked at is the thing that's a completely different car. I've tried to look within the same sort of range, the same brand for all these deals. What you should also look at is completely different cars. So in this one, I'm looking at a BMW 3 Series, but I would also be looking at the Audi A4, like the Mercedes C-Class, E-Class, A6, all those sort of cars. Anything that ticks the box. So you obviously want an executive saloon car. So just look at executive saloon cars. Even maybe you'd like an SUV if it was a good price. Look at those. Maybe you'd like an estate car if it was the right price. So widen your net. Whatever it is that you think you want, look outside of it, because you may find something that you didn't think you could possibly afford, or that makes more practical sense, that's a great price. It might be cheaper than your budget. It might be a couple of quid more than your budget, but really widen your net. So this one here is a 3 Series saloon. This is the 318i SE Pro. So it's sort of base spec level, more or less. And that car is 33 grand to buy new, £403 a month, 1,500 quid up front. Get the same car in M Sport trim, which is 34,725, and it's 379 quid a month. See what I'm getting at? So it's 25 quid a month less, more or less, and it's a higher spec range. So this one's best part of 35 grand to buy. This one's 33 grand to buy. Yet this one's £24 a month less, and 400 quid less on the deposit. And this one's going to come with a bit more spec. Obviously M Sport looks a bit sportier and stuff, a little bit of a different package, but it's going to come with a couple of things that you don't get on that lower spec version, and they may be things you particularly like. So there's one example straight away. So you want the 3 Series, you think, oh, I'm going to get that one, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get this. It might be cheaper and you might not need some of the options that you would have put on the other one. It's 25 quid a month less. Right, A4. So this one's a 35 TFSI Technic. So it's base spec A4, 398 quid a month, £1,400 deposit. So this one is more expensive. It's 418 a month and 1470 deposit. But it's the TFSI Black Edition, so it's top of the range. So the base spec one's 398 quid a month, so £31,000 car. The top spec one's 418 quid a month, and it's a £35,000 car. But check this out, the Audi A6 is a £39,000 car for 422 a month. That's 4 quid a month more than a £35,000 car, and 25 quid a month more than the £31,000 car. If you look at pounds per month versus vehicle value, the difference is huge, and the amount of kit you'll get on your standard A6 compared to the amount of kit you'll get on your standard A4 is night and day. Let's just go up to the next extreme for the final example here. This one's a BMW 5 Series Saloon, 583 quid a month, £1,749 down. It's actually quite a good price on these at the moment, it's not too bad. It's about 57 grand to buy one of those, and you're getting that for 1,700 quid up front and 583 quid a month. So would you be shocked if we got a £69,000 car for less? Hopefully you found that one useful, and hopefully next time I say shop for the deal and not for the car, you understand what I mean, because it's not the most self-explanatory phrase. So shop for the deal, not the car. Really, that's rule number 1 when you're looking for a car lease deal, and you don't need to look for rule number 2. It's as simple as that. Shop for the deal, not the car. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Please go and check out this video next. YouTube thinks you'll like it, and so do I. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks.